So what we wanted to do is my name is Frank Bogier. I'm Vice President of Yacht Sales for TUI Moorings, which is Moorings, Sancerre and Leopard. What we wanted to do is mainly today introduce the Leopard 40. We've had the first boat presented at the Miami Boat Show. We had the same kind of setup. We had a conference, press conference in Miami to introduce this new model. So quickly, the update on this is that we're developing the replacement of the Sancerre 384. We built 77 of those. Then we built the Moorings 3900 and the Leopard 39. So this is a replacement of that series of boats. That was 210 units total. And this is basically going to be distributed mainly to Moorings initially under the Moorings 4000 model name as a 3-cabin with a few 4 cabins that will go into the Moorings fleet as we speak. We also sell the boat under the Leopard brand for direct sales. For retail, we call that direct sales, private sales, where there is no charter element to it. We just sell the boat to various customers around the world. So we can, after do a quick tour of the boat, try to explain what we try to do on this particular boat. First, I'm going to basically introduce the people that are here. Everybody knows in France Emmanuel Allotte, who is in charge of the French market and Southern Europe for charter sales. We have Josephine Tucci, who joined the company back after leaving for a couple of years. She was a product manager for Sancerre. She's coming back as a general manager for Moorings. So Josephine has a lot of knowledge about the industry. Arnaud Savignac is a regional manager for Europe for Leopard. Mainly, basically everything in Europe with markets doing really well. Eastern Europe, Turkey, Russia, a little bit in Western Europe as well. And Pierre-Yves is in charge of marketing for Western Europe, mostly France, Southern Europe, and Western Europe. So maybe Josephine can talk about a little bit about the charter, and then after that we'll go over the concept of this boat, what we try to do on the design. Okay?
Okay. I actually prepared my notes in French, so now I'm going to translate back from French to English. But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the relationship with Robertson & Kane. It's been over 20 years since the Moorings 4500 was launched. We have 19 different models now that we've had in the charter fleet, and we have thousands of charter starts. So that is a lot of customer feedback for us and for Robertson & Kane. And we actually have about 50% of our fleet worldwide is now catamarans, so it's really a big area of focus for us. It's something we've been growing for many years now. We even have, our crude yacht fleet, which is with all-inclusive with captain and chef, is all catamarans, and our power fleet as well is all catamarans. So for us, the catamaran world is the future. There's always going to be a place for monohulls, of course, but we see customers dividing their time. They go racing, they may be racing on monohulls, they're going cruising with their family, they're taking a catamaran out. So we say in English, try a cat, you never go back. We see that quite often, our customers changing up. So we have a very strong renewal of the fleet. We have about just under 500 catamarans in the fleet now, and we're bringing in 104 new catamarans over the next year. So we spent a lot of money investing in the catamaran fleet with Robertson & Kane. There's several different ways that we make sure we capture our customer feedback. So the Robertson & Kane team will join our team. They go to all the biggest shows, Cannes, Miami, to get feedback directly from the clients when they're talking, when they're on the boats and taking a look around the boats. We have obviously meetings with all of the sales teams who are really dealing with private owners, charter program owners, and also our charter guests. So we have 3 different types of customer that we're getting feedback from. And then on the charter side specifically, we have what we call CSQs, which are questionnaires. Every charter guest will fill out a questionnaire, and they'll give us, insights. It could be real details, like on the 4800 And here on this model as well, the little manco box, the railing here, that was added to ease access in and out of the dinghy. So that's the kind of detailed feedback that we are getting from customers. We also have crews that live on our boats permanently, and we get a lot of very interesting feedback from the crews as well. So our newest model, like the 5800, there's a lot of work that's gone in to work with the crews about how to make the livability with guests on board, you know, access to guests in any of the different areas. So aft cockpit, forward cockpit, full flybridge, all of the controls led back to the helm station. Makes it very easy for people to have their own space, but also be together. It's very convivial. The other aspect of feedback that we get, of course, is from our maintenance and operations teams at the bases. We have 26 bases worldwide, and the teams are very focused on how do we make the whole charter experience easy for the guests, but also easy for maintenance. So practicality is a big piece of it, but also aesthetics. One of the changes that we've made recently, you'll see, is the lighter interiors, both on the 5800 and on this new model. That is a direct result of tendencies that we see both in the auto industry, in the home interior design industry, and in fact we had an interior designer who also specializes in houses and concept boutique housing work on the project here. So it's an interesting way to understand really what the you know, tendencies are in the main design world as well. And then lastly, we have an internal IT technical director who is dedicated purely to the relationship with Robertson & Kane. So his job is to make sure that every piece of feedback that we get from private owners, from program owners and from our charter guests is all put together, nothing is missed, and that all goes into a very precise order book that we work on with Robertson & Kane. So it's very much a 360-degree feedback loop, and I think, you know, where we are now today with boats like this, Frank's going to show you the features of the boat, compared to where we started, it's quite amazing, the evolution. So we definitely get a lot of feedback, so it's I think the biggest advantage that we have is really being able to take that feedback and modify our boats so quickly, because we have so many in production at any given time. So that's mostly what I wanted to say. Frank's told you I was with the Moorings. I started in France actually in 2001. I worked for Dufour Yachts at one point. I worked for Massif Sailing Centre. So if you want to speak to me in French later on, I can do that too. And I'm very happy to be back at the Moorings and working with Emmanuel and the team here. So, anything I missed, Emmanuel, that you would like to add? Okay.
Back to me.
Short.
So a little bit more about the just a refresher on Robertson & Kane relationship. We have the question all the time. I see sometimes some the way it's written about the relationship between the two companies. So Robertson & Kane, to clarify, is a separate company from TUI Marine. We, however, have an exclusive agreement between the two companies. The relationship started in 1995. I was already at the Moorings back then. We ordered 10 Moorings 4500 for the Moorings fleet. Fast forward today, we built 1,400 boats. Actually, we have 1,400. That accounts for about 200 catamarans a year, which puts us right next to the lagoon, I think, or just behind the lagoon, about 40% of that goes into private ownership. The other 60% is sold to private owners, but that pushes the yacht into the charter fleet. So equally, we have 200 boats. There's 140, 130 that are going into the fleet. There's the equal amount coming out as well on the brokerage side as they go through the cycle. So that's a little bit about that. If you have any questions on Robertson & Kane itself and the TUI Marine, where we are today? No? General questions? So maybe we can talk about this boat. So we normally do follow what Josephine does. We get some customer feedback, but at the end of the day, we basically do a concept group. We put together the people from operation. We put to the charter sales, yacht sales, myself. We have the design team from Robertson & Kane, the architect, in this case Alex Simonis, and John and Peter Robertson. And the way this boat started was in the BVI. We took all the models and we used the boat for a week. we usually rotate boat to boat, and we write what's called a brief. So we do that in detail. It's a very important stage. That's really when the concept of the boat, when the idea of that next boat is born, if you like. So that usually ends up on a napkin with a few, painkillers. But the result is okay. So we kept the fundamentals of what we do on the leopards. One is you can see on all the boats we actually this is a little bit of a wider transom. We have access from the sides. It's very flat. It's very easy to access the boat. Very good and deep swim platform. That swim ladder, sorry, that can be used even in deep water to get on board. Good access here in the back of the boat. We have the life raft here. We have an electrical davit system that is found on all the leopards. We've had this system for now 20 years, and the concept is simple: is for the davits to go to the dinghy and pick up the dinghy rather than bringing the dinghy to the davit. So this goes all the way down. There's hooks here with lines, so you can just drop this on the dinghy. There is no trying to grab the davits or trying to hook up the lines at the bottom of the dinghy. It's very easy to use. It's electric, and you can lift the dinghy with the outboard engine. So very easy to use. Here we have a boat in one level. The entrance to the cockpit, we started with the first generation of leopards in '96, when we're starting to cut the bulkhead here to give access into the cockpit. We already had moved the traveler up. Over the years, this become a hardtop, and the idea of this boat is basically to keep a very large aft cockpit. We always have a big aft cockpit, so we can sit 6-8 people comfortably in the aft cockpit. The other thing you will find on all the boats is that we have a steering station that is in the cockpit, so we do not separate the group. We keep the group together. We do a fly bridge only when we get to a certain size, when the entire group can go on the fly. So if we can put 6-8 people on the fly bridge, on the 58, or on the Power Cats, or on the 43 Power Cat that we're going to be launching, that I'll talk to you about in a minute. Only when we can move the entire party on the fly, we do a fly. Otherwise, the idea is to privilege conviviality, friends and family, and not separating anybody. Also, we keep this arrangement because of weather protection. I mean, in heavy weather, you certainly don't want to be standing up on the raised platform. So it's protected. Everything is hardtop and can be enclosed. So there's minimal maintenance. The only fabric is the stack pack. So the other change here, and I invite you to visit the boat after, but the other big change is since the visibility of the boat is now moved forward. In the past, we always had boats where we were looking aft, we were looking in the back, but now everybody wants to see forward because of the door that we have and the very large window. When you have beautiful water outside, you want to see and look at the outside. So we flip the main salon. So now this is the first cat where you're actually sitting in the main salon looking forward. Equally, the galley, instead of being aft, is now forward, which we've done a long time ago on the first generation of boats. And it's a very square. We kind of push the corners a little bit to increase the surface. So at the end of the day, we're looking at a 27% bigger boat from the previous model, and we're only 7% heavier. So 25% bigger, 27% heavier only. So we also managed to increase the size of the boat without increasing too much the weight of it. The other feature is to try to join the inside of the outside with opening the middle. It's all like a common area. You can sit inside and look and talk to your friends on the outside, but we can still close the boat. So the big question, obviously there's a trend today to have only one table instead of two, which we looked at a long time ago. The only problem with that is you can't close the boat. So we've always wanted to have a boat that can close if it rains, if you need to remain cool and run the air conditioning or even run a heater. So the boat does close, so you can have dinner inside, but when it's open, it's all communicate together. Then we have, on the other models, we launched the forward cockpit, first on the 44, which gives us another area for people to gather. That gives privacy to go in the front rather than being part of the group. So there's the aft cockpit, the middle of the boat, the main salon, and the forward cockpit being different areas to utilize. But also it gives better visibility, for sure, a lot of ventilation. As you open the door, the breeze will flow through the boat. In a situation in a marina, if you close the doors on all the boats and then you go forward, you're very quiet in the front of the boat in the marina, away from the traffic that you have at the dock. Equally, when you're at the anchor, it's a very nice place to be because it's fresh, it's in the breeze, it's very enjoyable. So that's pretty much the idea. Another thing that is common to all the boats that's very important for us is to create a boat that has volume but without compromising the performance of it. So you'll see the boat has a step hull or a shine, if you like, coque à bouchon, you can call in French, which basically is a step in the hull, so we keep the hulls very thin. The entry at the bow is very thin, so we actually have on this boat hulls that are slightly narrower than the 39 that we had before. We actually managed to reduce, when everybody is increasing the size of their boat, their hulls, we're actually reducing it because the volume, because of the step, is above the waterline. So we can offer volume in the boat without increasing the size of the hull, therefore keeping the performance going. Equally, we have a full-size main, big boom, a lot of sail area in the main, and overlapping genoa. So we have a boat that still sails really well powered in a wave. We power always the front with a big genoa, so we get the necessary power to keep the boat fairly flat, even though in that size you're moving a little bit more. And so in 40 feet, we try to do quite a lot, but without, sacrificing the performance of it.
Great.
Anything else that you want to ask about the boat? Or? So it took 18 months to develop. That's usually that turnaround time is 18 months. So while I'm at it, I might as well. So the 51 power cat, that is for us kind of an old story because we've been working with that boat for 2 years. Very successful in the US. We actually sold 30 of them without even doing one boat show. There's been a lot of activity on the social medias and internet in general. So that was the first time we started selling so many boats so fast without even doing any boat shows. Now we're starting to show the boat. It was introduced for the first time at the Miami Boat Show, Tower Show in South Beach. And that's the first time we're showing this boat in Europe. It's going to be in the Med, very few. It's a big boat for the Med. So we're going to have that in the Moorings fleet. Croatia. So that's a new product for Europe, even though we've been working with this boat for a while. On the back of this, we are launching in August a 43 power cat, which is a replacement of the 39 power cat. So same concept. We have the same interior. That's the only thing that's the same is the interior. So we share all the tooling and the cabinetry of the interior on sailboat and powerboat, which creates economy of scale, and that's why we have good prices on the boats. So we have the same interior, the same cabin. Obviously the hulls are different, big flag bridge. The 43 will be launched in August, like I said. It will be introduced in the Moorings fleet in the fall, in the Caribbean and the Bahamas. And we're going to launch it under the Leopard brand as well, as a 3 and 4 cabin. So we have that we have some flash drives that we can give you, and you'll see the first renderings of the new 43 power catamaran from Robertson & Champion. So a lot of action. To give you an idea, we're operating 6 production lines. The 51 right now is 1 boat a week. It's pretty simple. 1 boat a week. The 48 is 1 boat a week. The 44 is 1 boat a week. That's 1 boat every 4 days. That's it.
Yeah, I think when it comes to talking about power as well, it's quite interesting the change that we've seen as well, because, and I think there was a presentation on this here yesterday, but I wasn't here, but the power market, is anywhere between 8 to 12 times larger than the sailboat market. So for us, there's definitely an opportunity there. Now, chartering power boats for a week in the Caribbean is still somewhat of a newer concept. Sailors get the charter process more, but we have a very large market opportunity. We have clients that are getting older as well, so we see some people switching from sail to power. and just, you know, convenience, time. There is pressure on that in the modern society as well. So power is something that we're seeing growing really quickly. So we'll be launching a new crude power product in the fall as well, where we'll have crews on power too. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for Americans coming to the Med that are wanting to visit the Med but maybe not familiar with it. But just as much, we have boats in Croatia now as well, St. Martin, the British Virgin Islands. So I think it's a big opportunity for us too. But of course, sail is our core market and will remain so for a long time. Yes.
Just now, about the model range. And other question is why leopard name and very strange trademark for very serious boat.
Well, that's an interesting question, the last one. I'll address the first one, I'll let Frank take the second.
So on the product range, yes, as far as the big boats are concerned, yeah, we launched the 58 here in 2012. The innovation on this is that it's a 6-cabin boat, 6 double cabins, and we have cabins up on the bridge deck, which we call premium cabins, because when you're in the cabin, you have 380-degree view of the ocean from your cabin. So for us, it's what we call a 10-passenger boat. It's a fully inclusive product. It's catered, full open bar, inclusive of food. It's a 4-star food level. It's really good. Usually the crew is a couple. They're usually married, not all the time, but they're couples. We try to keep them together. It's not easy. And then they're on payroll. They work for us. We don't outsource. It's very internal. Also, our crude yacht market, the crude yacht business that we have, we in fact the biggest crude yacht operator in the world. But it's typically the typical crude yacht is owner operated. They're on their own, and the crew kind of does everything. But our crew, they have the assistance of the base. So when they come back with a boat, we can turn the boat around quicker because we have mechanics, people to clean the boat to help them out. So this is what we do on the bigger boat. As far as development, well, we delivered 11 of them for the Moorings fleet. We're going 4 more that will be going in our crude yacht program. We're looking at a very few bareboat because of the size of the boat. And as far as the sailboat, that's what we're going to be doing. For power, you know, there's always a question of a very large power cat. I think it's on the table, but we're not doing anything because what we're not understanding very well today is crude power, a power boat with a crew. Because if we go up in size from the 51, have you seen the 51 already? Because that's a pretty large boat. If we go bigger than this, we're going to have to go crude. And we're not understanding clearly the crude yacht market is very broken, and it's very much around motor yachts operated by owners, and they only do 4 or 5 weeks a year. It's not very organized. But there's certainly an opportunity with larger power catamarans.
So we will be testing that out with the existing 51.
Yeah, so an interesting point is the 51 Power Cat is now offered as well as a crude yacht. So you can charter this boat, full inclusive of food and beverage and a crew. Is that the question?
I think she had a second question about the leopard name.
Oh, the leopard name. Well, to be honest, what happened is, you know, I came from the Moorings, so I was selling the boats on the Moorings fleet. Then we had more and more people that asked us, we really like your boat. Can we buy your boat without charter? And that was in 2000 when we started. Actually, Josephine worked for me at the time, and the name Leopard was already there. The guys in South Africa used that as a kind of a name, you know, for their boat.
They wanted a South African animal.
Yeah, so
right?
you know, if you go to South Africa, the leopard is like the main animal in the bush. That's the animal that you look for. And by the way, it's a great holiday. But
you are thinking about European market,
for the leopard? No, because leopard we launched in the US first. In fact, we're #1 in America by far. and it was we thought the name went well with South Africa, and cats, because in English, you know, you call catamarans a cat.
The name is okay, but
Okay.
the trademark is very strange.
But what's the difference between the name and...
The little paw?
Ah, the paw, the logo. Okay. Well, you should see the logo we had before. It was even stranger, because we had it instead of the O, and not everybody was reading that correctly. We had a lot of leopards, and but that's graphics. I mean, but no, I understand. We actually refreshed the brand recently, so I'm glad you don't like it.
But I would like to pay €2 million.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a valid point. Yeah. No, sure. Good feedback. Any other questions on leopard? Okay.
A lot of boats since they were planned end of life what is looking for a charge that you can live in private owners, is there a plan? You know, when you get out into the BVI and there are so many pieces of fiberglass floating around, what happens to them?
Yeah. Are you with a magazine as well?
No.
You're a customer, aren't you?
No, ex-skipper.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it always makes me wonder,
Oh,
where are they all going to go?
So you're not buying one, are you? All right, that's fine. So it's a good question. That's a question that a lot of people have. First of all, the fact that we're exclusive with the product, every leopard and every Robertson and Kane goes to us. We buy them all and they're built only for us, if you like. So we control the distribution of it, and on the back end of it, we also do it. So that's part of my job as well. I do product development and I do yacht sales, and we do used boat sales. It's a separate team of people, but we the advantage, in fact, is the only flooding of the market, if you like, will be ourselves flooding ourselves. So when we do the fleet plan, we actually a little bit careful about not releasing too many boats in one shot. Also, usually the first year we don't have as many because the production, it takes a while to ramp up. So we don't release, you know, the maximum that we would release of a model in one regional area, which basically is Caribbean, North American market, Med European market is 20 foot boats at 25 boats at a time. So as far as the resale, since we also do it, we control the pricing as well pretty well, and we're doing better on the cats than the monohulls. I think one big issue on Catamarans, we in the multi-hull boat show, is a big stamp for cats is they resell better. So the residual value is higher, and for us, it's important to understand the residual value. The other element, and I don't want to bore you with this, but our repeat business is about 40%. So our owners, at the end of the program, almost half of them, they buy another boat and we trade their boat in. So our interest is to keep the market high. For everybody, for the owners and for the company. So we control that distribution. Okay, I think we have flash drive. Where is, yeah. So you want to take a flash drive from Pierre? All the information is on there. Then we can do a tour of the boat, and then we're going to have some wine and some beverages. But thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much.